Hello everyone, my name is James. Today I'll be approaching this seminar from a beginner's perspective and assume you have no prior knowledge of using Markdown extensively before. I will also assume that you are starting to use Markdown for your projects, but experiencing difficulties producing your first Markdown file correctly. I will share some useful tricks that I used personally to learn Markdown quickly, and I hope you could benefit from at least one of these tricks after today's seminar. You may have come across Markdown in several scenarios before. Two of the most frequent encounters in my experience are Markdown cells in Jupyter notebooks and GitHub README files. And allow me to switch screens very quickly to show you what I mean. I will borrow one of the Jupyter notebooks from first year chemistry workshop to show you as an example. As you can see here, this section with plain text and images are actually formatted using Markdown. If you double click on this section, it will review the Markdown for us. All these strange looking text are the Markdown, and this cell that contains these Markdown is called a Markdown cell. I will not go into details to explain how to use Jupyter notebooks here, as it is irrelevant to the seminar. I merely use this as an example. So the second example is a README file in GitHub. So this is a repository that I created last year for a small peer review project. It is public, by the way, so feel free to check it out. You can see the README file, readme.md. This README file is quite comprehensive. For example, I have a table of contents that it takes you to the exact location of the section that when you click on it. For example, I want to see my tips and tricks, so I click on it. It takes me all the way to my tips and tricks. But I could also fast track back to the contents by clicking back to contents. Like this. Now I'm back with contents. I also embedded links for people to download softwares, say for example Notepad++. There you go. I also included images to aid the users. So yeah, so this is like a good example, I would say, for what a good README file or a good Markdown file looks like. You may ask, if I need to create something like this, how could I make sure I do not mess it up? Well, there are several approaches. The most common one used by beginners is just practicing within the default environment that they are encountered by, well, when they encounter the Markdown. For example, text formatting. Say, if you are in Jupyter notebooks, you can just type in something here and say, this is a test. And you can see the results is there. But if you want to do something more complicated, or for example, you want to insert a new image, but for example, you messed up, you missed a dot here, for example, the image won't show. But if you are a beginner, you wouldn't know why this image is not showing, because there's no error message being given to you. So you'll be very confused. Same with GitHub. For example, when you're formatting long text, like let me show it here. So if you're in the editor mode, you can see here there is no spelling check or grammar check for those who are formatting second language, for formatting in English, which is your second language, or just you can see it's very difficult to read and keep track. Right, so this is not very user friendly if you're not experienced user. So you can now say, if I start evolving bullet points, if I go back You go back to it. Now, say if I'm involving bullet points, or I'm involving, say, equations here, and images, tables, or even links. If you are a beginner who trying to do this by yourself in like a native environment, you find yourself to be stuck very quickly, and you'll be frustrated, and you'll be disencouraged to using these tools ever again, right? So what you could, in theory, to learn about the entire history and uses of Markdown from Wikipedia. If you really want to go down that route, you could also find plenty of Markdown cheat sheets with a few like quick online searches, right? Like some basic syntax rules. But all of these, like this excessive amount of information, could be confusing for an absolute beginner who just need to just do some simple practice or trying to build their own Markdown file from scratch, right? So I always propose an alternative approach, which is to use a third-party website or software to assist yourself. So before this seminar, I actually created this new GitHub repository. It's public as well, to show you exactly how to produce your very first Markdown file with ease. I'll come back to this repository later, and as I will do something with the third-party website, and you can see the changes here later. So one of the best third-party websites for Markdown is actually something called HackMD. As you can see, if you search HackMD, this is what you'll get. And HackMD offers many features, such as team collaborations, or Git control, if you understand what Git is, and it has many extensions for VSCode, browsers. It integrates with GitHub really well. You can have different modes for slides or book mode, which is all nice. But the most valuable feature, I would say, is the ability to render your Markdown files while you are typing, so that you could precisely know what is going on. And before I show you that, you just need to create an account first. This is a free-to-use website. Don't go for premium. It's not necessary. So in my case, I just simply sign in. And I go to the workspace that I created for today, so Markdown. And you can see there's nothing here yet. So once you are in your workspace, in a blank workspace, you can start creating a new note. And now you can see here is my blank page, and HackMD kindly to suggest, what would you want to do? Do you want to link it to your GitHub? You can pull and push to your GitHub. So pull is you can get anything that you like, anything from GitHub repository, like here. You can get it from this all the way to let me remove this. Why this is still here. And you can get all the way from this GitHub page to here. This is what pull does, and push is any change you make here, you can push it to your GitHub repository. But because both of these repository and the nodes are empty at the moment, so I will do this step later, because I want you to play around with the Markdown file first. Okay, so to start with, like they said, you can put a hashtag sign. Okay, and that is where you put your titles in. So let's start with a simple title. Markdown made easy for beginners. And now you can say on the right hand side, you have your titles made, which is brilliant, right? And now you can type, and now you can say type in a bit more information. Say this repository contains all the useful notes and information mentioned in the YouTube videos. Right now you can see this is without the hashtag signs. This is just a simple line of text which it shows here. Right. So now you can say, oh, let's do something fancy with it, and you can say, let's create a section. And you say, oh, I don't really know what a section is. So you can say, let's go to heading. So this is to make things bold. This is to make things italic. This is to put stretch through, and this is your heading section. You can press heading. So you can see you can keep pressing it. So basically, one hashtag means the main title, and two hashtags is the section or chapter's name, and subsections and subsections, etc., etc. Okay. So now, because we already have a title page here, we just need to create a chapter or section title. So we have two hashtags, and this one, let's start with useful links. Okay, and these are the links that you'll find in the YouTube video descriptions as well. Just all the links that I think will be useful to assist your learning Markdown. Let's try to include some here. Let's say, because I want to include a link, you could use this function here. If you see this chain here, say every time you want to create a link, just say press here, and the format has been typed out for you nicely here. Okay. Say I want to show you the link to my example repository, and this, so that is the repository, is this one that I am talking about. So I just need to simply copy this link, come back here, well, replace this really, and that gets your link. So to check if this link is working or not, just double click on this. So it works. Great. So now you got yourself a working link. Or sometimes you say, I don't like them to be embedded. Well, then that is just very simple. Then you can just go Markdown Repository, say, and which this one links to this one, for example, this blank one. And we can just simply copy, paste the web page. There your web page. So you got your text not being without the hyperlink, and you got your website here. Okay. And HackMD always open the links in a separate web page for you, or in a separate tab for you, which is very useful. Okay. So now you got two ways basically to insert links. One is embedded links, one is just links on its own. Now we can look at try something different. Let's say if you want to type some simple equations, let's say a sample equation, right? And if you don't know, oh, how do I type equations? This actually is the same way as you would type a LaTeX equations. If you don't know about LaTeX equations, I will link videos about how to use LaTeX in the description below, so and you can watch their videos. But for the benefit of this seminar, there's one website that is called the online LaTeX equation editor. So you can edit equation here, and it will tell you if something is right or wrong. And as long as it's right, you can just copy and paste it to here. And so, for example, I want to say, I'm just typing the simple a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so the system tells me this is correct. But if I do something silly, for example, because you might be coded with different languages, and in different language, you start using this hat, you might use this sign. So now you can say, and then say, actually this is not to the power, so it's okay. I need to change this, okay? Or instead of trying to type this out, you can always use this thing to assist you. For example, I'm trying to find the power, so you go, XA is good, XA. So I can always, this is nice. So I can do C to the power of 2. So actually, this is a more proper, correct way of typing this equation out in LaTeX. So you can go back to fix these if you want, because these are simple cases. So it doesn't really matter if you include the bracket or not. But later, when you have a more complicated equation, this do matters. And now, so you're happy with a plus b squared equals c squared. You're happy with this equation. Just simply copy paste this into your Markdown file. But again, you can see, actually it's not working. Why? Because same as LaTeX, you need to put all this equation between dollar signs. So this. Here you go. So now you have a sample equation of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay. And obviously you can with the help of this online equation editor, you can edit like more complicated equations, but you can do that in your own spare time. And I'll link this in the description so you can have fun with it. And another thing you could do with Markdown, with HackMD is you can create a table. So let's do an example table. And it's simple, just by going here, insert table. There you go, and you got your 3 columns. So you can go, this is the length A, and this is my length B, and this is my C. Right, and so 3, 4, 5. They're the same. Now you can see you got a table of value of A, B, C with 3, 4, 5. Right. If you want to say, and you want increase number of rows, just copy and paste. Just you can just copy and paste it. Copy, or you can just here press enter. It will create the second row for you. Or when you go to the end of this, press enter. You get another row, and just keep doing enter, enter. So, or you can use control. Or you can if you look at here, you can also add columns like this, or you can add rows like this. Right. So instead of doing the enter thing, you can also use the control button on the top. You can add a line on the text to the center, to the right, to the left. Right, all these are doable. Okay. Let's just leave these as the way it is. And let's remove this column, shall we? Well, we can have a D value, can't we? And then just say it equals 6. And you got a table. Okay, so you can play around with the table in your spare time. So this is only a demonstration shape. It shows you that once you have a table, don't worry if you can't remember how to format it. You got all the useful buttons on the top to help you do it. And you might see early, and now you say, I have. Normally you have this 3 section that's quite full. But so you can say, let's go back and create a table of contents. And so with contents, and you say, okay, I want contents, I want bullet points. How do I create bullet points? It's simple. Go to the top here, generate list, press that, and this is where you need to be careful. For the title itself, you need to use square brackets. So I'm using, say, use for links. And well, and then here's the thing, if you just want something like this, if you just want a plain text, this is perfect, fine. So you can have useful links, you can have example equation, you can have example table. So you got your ton contents, that's fine. So for a very short Markdown file, this is perfectly fine. But sometimes, like you see earlier in my previous one, when you have a long Markdown file and you want to navigate them through them quickly, then I would suggest you to use, they say, the square brackets. And then after square bracket, use the normal bracket with hashtag space, and literally, so if you're not sure, and this is to hashtag the titles link. And if you're not sure what the link is, you can always check. So let's say useful links, you can just go to this, change it, and check. Oh, it's useful links, but with a hyphen in between. So now when you try to type this out, you can't just hashtag useful link. You need to hashtag useful link with a hyphen in between. And yeah, sorry, there's no space. You can see here, if I like say I made an error here because I haven't been using it in a while, which when you add extra space, it causes an error, so it doesn't work. And you remove the space, it works. So this is something I mentioned, like the great what makes HackMD great is you get this instant response to check if the thing you're doing is correct or not. Okay, now you can do pretty much the same for the rest of them. Let's do them right now. You can get hashtag, and you get your example equation. And you can see your example equation being linked up, and you can do the same for example tables. In the hyphen, and everything has been linked up nicely for you. Okay, so now if you have a really long page, when you like this one we have here, where you press the link, it should just take you all the way to tips and tricks, right? And press back to contents, it should get you back to there, which is a super useful feature to have. And I don't know how to get rid of this. There you go. Now with the back to content thing, with the super useful trick, that one actually is something looks like this. As usual, a square bracket, okay, and also a curly bracket, well, a normal bracket with hashtag. This is pretty much the standard form for anything that you want to link within the article. And now you say, oh, I want to say back to contents. The things in the square brackets is it's just a plain text. It doesn't really matter what you put in there. You can just say the content is fine. It's the hashtag thing that is the most important ones, because you're trying to link it back to contents. So let's check what content link should be. So it's just contents. Great. So you just type content, and now you have a back to content. So now you press say example table. In theory, it should always take me, if it's a long page, it will take me straight to example table, and then press back to contents. You can see on top, back to contents. If I press example equations, you can see here, it takes me to the example equation. And if I press back to contents again, it takes me back all the way to contents. Okay, so so now we have a simple but complete Markdown file. So the next step to do is totally up to you. If you are formatting in, say, a Jupyter notebook, you can just simply copy and paste everything from HackMD into a Markdown cell. So for example, like this, you copy and say you paste in here, and Control Enter, and you got your step here, right? Or if you are if you are setting up your first GitHub repository, HackMD will also allow you to sync this Markdown file to your GitHub repository. So remember earlier when we just had this blank notebook and it says pull and push from the GitHub, you can, even though it disappears here, you can also go to menu and version and GitHub syncs, press that. And so, and then it will ask you, do you want to pull or push to GitHub? Since the GitHub is empty, there's nothing to pull from it, so we want to push it to GitHub. So we want to push to GitHub. Do we want? Yeah, we want to push to GitHub. Switch now. And now, okay. Sorry about that. And then let's switch. Select repo. So repository. Let's select which one. Oh, let's select Markdown. Am I correct? Yes. So it's my name with Markdown. It's public, so you can do that. And which branch you want? You want main. Well, there's only one branch at the moment, so it's main. And which file you want? Since there's only one file in here which is README, you select README. Okay, and name the version. Just say updated. I always use updated. Right, that's it. That's good enough. And you can see here with HackMD, they have changed it, so you get 20 times free push really every month. This used to be unlimited, but they recently have changed this policy because they need to make more money. So each month you got 20 times free to do this. But yes, but as a practice, this shouldn't be a problem because for most practice you don't need to push and pull from GitHub that often. You just need to see the live changes in there. But yeah, so let's use this opportunity to push it. So we push, and it will start syncing and push successful. Okay, now let's close this. Let's go back to our repository. Let's refresh the page. Voila, you can see the changes has been made. Okay, and say you want to have some, and you can do the same here. Once you become more experienced, you can also say, oh, I don't like this. I want to change it back to 3 columns. So you can change this in your GitHub itself and come down here and say updated, right? And say commit changes. And now you have things being like this. We'll fix this. We'll fix this some point. And okay, that means you have made a change in your GitHub. Let's go back. Let's go back to Markdown. So now you have made a change here, right? So you can go, oh, let's pull the change from GitHub. So we go back to version and GitHub sync. And now you can see the red dot here. It says pull because the new version has been detected. So just pull it and apply our changes. And you go, oh, okay, that's good. And you can see I don't like the table being like this because that's not intention. That's not what we intended. Change this. There you go, and everything now should back to normal. And you update this again. You can go, oh, let's save this version one more time. So 19 times remaining. Update again. Push. And if we go back to GitHub, changes has been made. Okay. Right. I do want to point out sometimes things in here works. The a squared b squared plus c squared thing works here, and it also shows up nicely in Jupyter. But sometimes those things doesn't work properly in GitHub natively. So there are a way to fix this. So I'll include a link in the description below in the video to walk you through how to overcome this problem in GitHub itself, because that is sometimes may take a bit longer than I wanted to. So yes, I do want to point that one out. But in general, now you get the idea of how to create your Markdown files from scratch and how to sync them up with either Jupyter Notebook or GitHub that you're working with. Okay, and also with the aid of equation editors and other stuff, and also with like cheat sheets to remind you what everything is and how to do certain things, right? Alternatively, you could download VSCode, which I'll show you here. You can download VSCode, and with VSCode, you can download the repositories from online. And just allow me to sync this up very quickly. Is there no changes? Oh, sorry. Let me press wrong button. Okay. There you go. Now we have pulled everything. Now you can see, oh, we got the new file that we just created with some extension you need to download, and all the tutorial to set this up on VS Code. I will also link that in the description so you can watch it in details. But the idea is the same. You have this thing. You can have this. Look, you can open preview. You can open this, and this does exactly the same job as HackMD, and you get unlimited amount of push and pull with VS Code. So that is a bless. So the advantage I would say with HackMD is it is easy to use. It's because it's a website. You can use anywhere you want. You can use it at home. You can use it at school. It's very it's a very lightweight application. Well, not application, website. So you can use anywhere. You can just it is a good thing to use when you just start and to get yourself into the game of using Markdown files. And once you become more experienced and you are start working on your computer or your desktop more often, then it'd be worth downloading VS Code and do it this way, because you get unlimited amount of push and pulls, and of course you can use VS Code for other applications, which is also great. So yeah, so they are both tools, and both are great. You just pick one based on your preference. So let's go back to my slide. So yeah, to summary, you have as beginners, I highly recommend you to use tools like those third-party tools to assist and accelerate your learning with regarding Markdowns. And HackMD and VS Code are both great tools, and just pick one that you prefer the most, really. Yeah, so thank you for staying with me all this time, and thank you for listening. Hopefully, I help you overcome the initial struggle of learning Markdown, and you could now explore Markdown with confidence and ease. And again, all the useful links will be included in the description below. And please feel free to ask any questions in the comment section below, and I will do my best to explain them to you. And good luck and have fun.